This video is an overview of the ideas that we are engaged with in week 3. So in week 2, we were focused on finding arguments, finding sources who had something to say about the topic that we were interested in our group. Now, in week 3, you are back to working as individuals, and using that list of resources that you found as a group, you are going to spend some more time doing the work of writing research summary assignments. And in order to do these research summary assignments, you need to take some of those ideas that you found in your sources and bring them into your own writing. So when we think about bringing the words and ideas of our sources into our own texts, we need to be thinking about several things at the same time. We want to make sure that we're accurately representing those sources' ideas. We want to make sure that we are choosing among the sources' ideas the ones that are most relevant to our own interests. Right? Sometimes a source might talk about 10 things, but only 3 of them are really useful to us. Only 3 of them really engage with the question that we're thinking about. So we want to make sure that we are choosing among our sources' ideas the ones that are relevant to our own interests. And then finally, we want to make sure that we're using the tools of academic writing to indicate which words and ideas belong to us and which words and ideas belong to our sources. And those tools in academic writing include quotation marks, parenthetical citations, and attributive tags. And the chapters you are reading in They Say, I Say, particularly chapter 2 and 3, will go over those tools in a little bit more detail. We can also talk about those tools if after you read chapter 2 and 3 and They Say, I Say, and you're still confused, we can talk about those tools in our conference this week. I want to also in this video talk a little bit about the reasons why this is so important. I touched on this a little bit in the citation why and how video last week, but I want to return to that idea because it matters so much. That the reason citation is important is not just because professors want to make students' lives hard and miserable, right? That's not the reason for citation at all, although sometimes it might feel like that. The reason for citation is to make sure that we are embedding our ideas in the conversation that is happening in the writing in our field. So always making sure that we are crediting the people that we are in conversation with by indicating that we've taken their ideas from a specific place in their writing. And that allows a couple of things. It allows us to help our sources build their own reputation, right? So if I quote something from a source, someone else reads my writing, then they'll not only know what I think, but they'll also know about the ideas of this other source, right? So it helps us to build reputations through citation practices. And that's very important for people whose careers are ultimately going to be in academia and in research, but also in sort of more public-facing and more industry-focused places. It's still important to help to give credit for where ideas come from so that that credit can help to build the reputation of the sources that we are drawing from. And another reason is to make sure that we are telling the story of how we developed our ideas. Oftentimes when we do the kind of work that you're going to do in the larger assignments this semester, where you're pulling ideas from multiple places, what we're doing is we are telling the story of our own development, right? I read this thing, and then I read this thing, and then I read this thing, and when I put all of these ideas together I had all of these ideas in my head at the same time from my reading, and then I came up with this new idea. And that's the place where our new ideas come from, right? Our new ideas come from the unique perspective that we have as a reader of the sources we've read and the lived experience that we have had in our lives. So you and I might read the same 3 sources, but come to different conclusions or notice different things because of the different life experiences that we've had. So when we are engaged in academic writing like this, we want to make sure that we are giving credit to the sources that help to inform our own writing, and also telling the story of where our unique new ideas are coming from. So these research assignments, the research summary assignments this week, are not a synthesis assignment, right? In each of the research summaries, you are engaging only with the ideas of one single source. You should view these a little bit as practice for that larger, more complex task of synthesis that will come later in the semester, and also as preparation for that task. Some of the things that you are writing about right now, the sources that you're using this week, you might use again in later assignments during the semester. So writing a research summary like the ones that I'm asking you to write this week is a skill that researchers use in the beginning stages of their research process, right? So when you are in the reading articles stage of a research project, you develop a stack of all these articles you need to read. And as you read each one, you make notes and you get to the end and you write a brief summary. And then when you get to the later stages of the research process, you actually start the writing, or you start building the presentation that you're going to give out loud. Those research summaries are your notes that you work from. So kind of 2 purposes. Practicing the skills of citation so that you have them a little bit more polished when we get to the bigger synthesis assignments when you're dealing with more than one source. And also doing future you a favor by summarizing some of this research so that you can use it again later. So that's what we're thinking about in week 3. I look forward to seeing you in our synchronous sessions later in the week.